Welcome to this week's Down Home with Tina. I am in red, white, and blue because I am going to talk about the upcoming Lancaster Fairfield County 4th of July celebration with Dave Smith. He's going to be a little later in the show, but the first part of the show, first of all, I'm going to have Clarence McCoy. He is with the Lancaster Community Chorus. They have a fun event coming up, and he's going to share all about that, what that's about. And also, if you are a singer and you're interested in maybe auditioning, he is going to also talk about their next season and what that will entail. And folks, I call it a very special couple of poems that I'm going to read for you at the end of the show. It is the show that Father's Day will fall upon, so it's coming up here right around the corner. And my dad gave me some poems, and I'll just explain a little more of that. They're not poems he has written, but you'll just have to stick around and you'll find out. I'll be right back. It's Down Home with Tina.
The Frankie Smith Funeral Home and Crematory in Lancaster and the Johnson Smith Funeral Home in Baltimore have a long and wonderful history of serving our community. Feel free to give us a call at 740-653-0652. Stop in and see us at either of our two locations, 405 North Columbus Street in Lancaster and 207 South Main Street in Baltimore. Respect for tradition, regard for change.
Dagger Law has been part of the Lancaster community for more than 110 years. This is where we live and work. You'll see us at festivals, sporting events, and all around town. We consider our clients as friends, and we walk alongside you through challenging times. Whether you're a growing business, a changing family, facing litigation, planning your future, or dealing with land issues, we're right here. We are local. We are trusted. We are experienced. Dagger Law.
Welcome back to Down Home with Tina. I have Clarence McCoy. He is director of Lancaster Community Chorus. And we are going to talk about, it is going to end up being the last for the season concert that's coming up. So correct. I'm really glad to have you with me. Thank you.
I'm excited to be here. Thank you.
Yay. So let's talk a little bit about, before we get into your concert that's coming up, what does it take in order for you to become and be a director for Lancaster Community Chorus? What is it like, Clarence? You
have to be a problem solver. You have to know a lot about music and a lot about different kinds of music, because we do a big variety of music. I was part of this organization's previous group, the Celebration Singers. I was actually their original director. So, I'm someone who has a lot of experience directing musical groups in the past. Working with community groups is its own set of skills. It's usually a one rehearsal a week type of thing, which is what we do. So you have to be able to plan your time accordingly to bring things together. And so, it takes diverse skills, I guess I would say. So.
With the different ones that have like their alto or their soprano, when it comes to setting up for the concert and where you're going to place them, is that sometimes a challenge? Or when you go in, and I know we're going to talk about auditions and for the next season and stuff, is it really difficult, or do you know how many of each of those you need to have?
I know how many I have for each concert when I decide how many are going to be where, and I keep an approximate balance of how many of each in order to make, you want a certain amount of this sound versus a certain amount of this sound. So I know what that needs to be. But voices are not all exactly the same. So some voices are bigger than others and all of that. Male voices tend to be bigger than female voices, not always, but tend to be. So a lot of times you don't need as many male voices to get the same kind of sound, which works in our favor because it's harder to get male singers sometimes. So I have a general idea of how it needs to go. I have to take into account who the specific people are who are singing for any individual concert.
Do you ever find that you have one or more of some? Is that a typical, or what is
that
what
does
are you
sometimes
always looking
happen.
for? I guess
we're always looking for basses and tenors,
Okay.
especially. In recent times, it's been tenors that we are really looking for, that's not uncommon. Robert Shaw, who was a famous choir director last century, he always auditioned his tenors first to figure out how many of those he would have, and then he would audition everyone else later to balance what he got there. So that's an ongoing concern. That's nothing that's new to us. So
for folks who are not real familiar with music, I know that when we're kids, we take music class and things like that.
Yeah.
Can you give for the different voices, like a tenor or an alto, who is famous? And I know I did not expect to ask you
this.
Man, is that a tough one, or can you pretty much put right away? Because there are some
operatic tenor. Pavarotti is probably the famous one. A lot of pop singers tend to be tenor, higher voiced. But like some of the country singers, lower voices. Some of them, alto. The most female pop singers are altos, and the higher part's soprano. Like that, you get some of that, but it tends to be our pop music. A lot of it's in kind of the same range. So high male voices, low female voices, and they sing kind of in that area. So. Yeah.
Somebody who they may be, let's say, younger than me, in their early 20s or something, and they're interested in coming out and auditioning, and they've always been told that they could sing, but they've never really been taught how to read music and things like that. Do you have a suggestion for them? Because are you a place where you are looking for experienced singers, or are you looking to take on some who maybe have some experience and aren't quite there yet?
Yeah, the second one. I mean, obviously we'll take both. We have people in the group that have degrees in music. And then we have people who have just been amateur singers their whole life. They have a good voice. It doesn't matter if they read music or not. We teach them the basics. But when you had the question earlier about placing them where they need to be, I'm actually very careful about that. And I have people who are leader types, and I make sure the people that need a leader type have a leader near them. So it all works together. That's kind of the magic of a choir, is that we take what we all bring and we meld that together and come up with something that's really good, better than we can do on our own. So.
About how many are in the choir?
This time there are about 60. We've had as many as 90 in the past. After the pandemic, we came back with about 50, and we've added a few more each one. So we're hoping next year to be back 70 or 80, somewhere in that vicinity, and start growing again. So.
Do you have a limit of how many?
Probably about 100 is all that will fit into our rehearsal space.
Plenty.
Yes. So,
you've got plenty.
Yeah.
So let's talk about this upcoming, and then we'll talk about next season and the auditioning times and dates and such. So what do you got coming up?
All right, the upcoming concert, we're excited about this. This has been planned for a while, actually. It's one of the ones that got canceled and rescheduled and all that. This is Sounds of the 60s. Is our last concert of this year. All different types of music, although mostly pop stuff from the 1960s. And there's just all kinds of great music. It's, as always, the struggle is narrowing down what songs we're going to sing, because there are just so many good ones, and you can only fit so many in. So we've picked a few for that. Something exciting for this time, because we're doing the 1960s, something different than what we've done in the past, is I've asked all the individual singers to come up with their own attire, what they're going to wear for the concert, something in the 1960s vein. So we're planning to see some tie-dye and flower children and that type of thing. So they've all come up with their own attire for the concert, so different than our usual concert black, which is going to be fun, I think.
Yeah. Yes. So did you choose all of the music that's going to be?
I did choose, well, except for we've got, the way the concert is set up, we've got a block of music that the choir sings at the beginning and a block of music at the end that the choir sings. And in the middle, we're going to feature some of our singers doing solos and things. And so they have chosen their own stuff and auditioned with that. And we've picked some from that to be part of that. So that added some variety and different than what I would bring, and different than the choir sounds. We're also going to add drums and bass and a few instruments to what's going on, which is going to be fun and make it a little more authentic to that type of music. So,
do you want it to be a surprise, or are you willing to share with some of those songs?
Oh, I know I can share what some of those are. We're doing some stuff is pop stuff that everyone knows. A couple of things are things from Broadway shows that we're doing. We're actually opening up with "Rhythm of Life," which is a song from Sweet Charity, which is a 1960s musical and movie, fun and very energetic and all that. 60s kind of protest song, so we're doing "Blowing in the Wind" to kind of represent that. We're doing the Association song "Never My Love," coming after that, and then a song that Jackie Wilson recorded, "Your Love Brings Me Higher and Higher."
Nice.
Also very fun. Yeah, we're going to do that. We thought you had to have a girl group song in there, so we're actually doing "Tell Him," which is by the Exciters. Tell him that you're never gonna know. Yeah, that one. So they're doing that. The guys are doing a Beach Boys song, "The Sloop John B." So again, just trying to represent all kinds of different music that was happening in the 60s. From the Beatles, we're doing "Eleanor Rigby," one of their 60s tunes. And then a couple of Simon and Garfunkel songs, the 59th Street Bridge song, "Feelin' Groovy," like that, and "Bridge Over Troubled Water." And then we're going to close the concert concert with Aquarius and Let the Sun Shine In from the musical Hair. It's going to be fun, and I can let a little bit of a secret out that we're actually going to leave the risers and come out into the audience and sing as we do that last song. It's going to be fun, I think so. And then like I said, we'll have some of those solo things in there as well. It's going to be a fun variety of music.
So those who plan on or wanting or interested in coming out and getting tickets and attending, do you ask that they dress up as 60s as well, or is that not required?
They're certainly
or is
welcome
it open
to. We have not advertised that in any way. If you show up in 60s attire, we might put you on the risers. Who knows? So, yeah.
I'm just telling you now, if I come up and I'm in my 60s, you don't want me to sing though, Clarence. I'm just saying, don't ask me.
The choir is magical.
Or you're going to be like, she's way in the back and everybody hide her. Hide her voice, everything about her. No,
I'm sure you would do fine.
No, my friend, no. So I mentioned tickets. What does it take to get tickets?
Well, first off, the concert is on Sunday, June 19th. It's at 3 o'clock in the afternoon on the 19th, and it's at Crossroads Ministry Center on West Fair Avenue, 2095 West Fair. Tickets are $10. They will be available at the door, but it's probably good to get them in advance if you can. You can go to our website, LancasterCommunityChorus.com. You can call 740-503-7357, 740-503-7357, or you can go to any of our social media pages. We have Facebook and Instagram, and the information's there as well.
June 19th, is that Father's Day? I think that's
It is Father's Day. What a great thing to do with your father on Father's Day.
Exactly.
And you go this, and then you can take him out to dinner. It's going to be good.
Because I'd like to say most of us have fathers that were born in the 60s, but no. My father would have been born in the 50s and 60s. There are a lot of those who are younger that may have, but they may have that love for the music of the 60s. So even younger than if they didn't grow up at that time and want to come out and enjoy our Lancaster Community Chorus. Okay, so let's talk about the auditions and when the next season begins.
Okay, next season happens in the fall. Our first concert's early November. Late August, early September, we'll be having auditions early September. And again, that information will be on our website, LancasterCommunityChorus.com.
Okay, all righty. So if you are somebody who you like to sing and you've been told that you can sing, and unlike I can't, and they have told me I can't. My kids told me years ago, Clarence, Mom, do not go on American Idol.
We would love to have you come try out. Don't do it, please don't.
Yeah, but if you do and you have that voice, and it's not just Mom that's told you, no offense, moms, we just love our children and we like to encourage them the best we can.
Right.
You know, most cases, but not all moms like that, they'll tell you. But anyways, if you do have a voice and you're interested, go to LancasterCommunityChorus.com and just check them out and stay up to date. In the meantime, you can always go see what they're about, purchase a ticket also, find out about, and the tickets are $10. And the event Sunday, June 19th, Father's Day, 3 p.m., Crossroads Ministry Center. Folks, don't go anywhere. I will be right back. We're going to talk about why I am in red, white, and blue. It's the Down Home with Tina show.
We've got a great one for you. The Blue Carroll Bulldogs. Yeah, those great week of practice. Even in the rain and the weather, what a great week of practice. Schneider, lots of running room to midfield. He's gone. Rush Schneider down the near sideline for a touchdown for the Aces.
We have a hold on the offense, number 20. That penalty will be declined. They'll bring up fourth down.
We're going to give you this game ball here because you're a Tiberios fan of the game. And thanks for being here, Jacob.
Thank you. The Polar Bears are your OAC tournament champions, first time since 2009. What an exciting finish for the Ohio Northern Polar Bears.
And be very proud of this trophy because you've earned it.
Welcome back to Down Home with Tina. I have got president of the Lancaster Fairfield County 4th of July Committee for the Lancaster Fairfield County 4th of July celebration.
Yes, we are.
Coming up on Monday, the 4th of July.
As it should be. Yep.
That is exactly right. So Dave, how are things going? How are you this year so far?
This year, everything's coming along. The notable difference is that we're still having some of the problems that everybody else is having with supply chain problems, material costs, cost increases for almost everything we touch. We bring in a lot of porta pots, if you will, from Porta Clean, and they give us a nice price, but it's still a lot more expensive than it was last year or 2 years ago. We get golf carts, from up in Carroll, and they're more expensive, and they're still giving us a deal compared to the regular retail. But everything is more expensive: security, insurance, and a lot of the incidentals that go into our production. Just everything's a little bit more expensive.
So before we start talking about the celebration itself, what pays for all of that? Because I know you were mentioning to me that last year you had a lot of entries that didn't end up entering,
right,
and that will hurt. I would call it the budget because of the revenue of what you get.
Well, a long time ago, if you go back 20, 25 years ago, we didn't charge anybody to be in the parade. And that was, things were modestly priced back in the day, and everything's gotten more expensive. And then we realized that the politicians and the commercial entries could afford a number. And it used to be 20 bucks, 25 bucks, and now we're at 50 bucks. And I think we've been there for 10 years.
Well, it's advertising.
Yeah, and if we get 100 units, that's $5,000 that we get in towards our total contribution of costs. And the fireworks are the biggest nut of that, as it should be. You know, and if it was 90%, I'd be happy. But and Hamburg Fireworks gives us a nice price, so that they love Lancaster. This is their hometown. Every county in the state of Ohio can have one fireworks display company, and we have Hamburg, but not all counties have their own fireworks display.
We're very blessed.
And so they help us with the festival and all the other events in town, or the county. A great deal from them, and it's a wonderful display, one of the best in all of Ohio. Some say even better than Red, White, and Boom. Judgment call, but we like to think so. Anyway, there's been a lot of expenses that have been popping up and just more expensive, and I think everybody sees that for almost all the costs. And we charge for parking, and last year, last minute, we went from $10 a car to $15 because all the other expenses were getting to us. And we wanted to break even every year. All we want to do is break even.
Right.
And we don't have any paid positions. We buy some pizzas here and there for some of our meetings, and that's about it. But nobody has a paid position. Everybody's a volunteer. And so we raised it to 15. And if we had not done that, we would have lost money. And we don't like to lose money. We like to put it all into fireworks for next year.
Right.
If there's any surplus, and we try to have $1,000 to $5,000 every year, next year it'll go into the annual increase of fireworks.
I'm so glad you're sharing all of that, because I think that's very important for folks to know where their parking fee is going and their entry fee money if they are in the parade.
And there's only so many cars we can park inside the fairgrounds.
Yeah.
And you can park free in the neighborhood. You can park over in Rising Park free. You just have to get there early. And part of our problem here in the last number of years is we got plenty of volunteers to park the cars, but everybody wants to come at 8:30. And so there's a traffic jam, and between 8:30 and 9:30, we probably park 2/3 of all the cars that ever get inside.
Okay.
Maybe half or whatever. We have people coming and going all day long. Some families like to come earlier in the day, right after lunch, have their lunch, fair food, have the kiddies on the rides, and not too much crowd.
Yeah.
Between noon and 3, not too busy. 3 to 6, it starts to get a little bit busier. From 7 o'clock on, it's just crazy, crazy.
Yeah.
But that's what it is.
That's
what
right.
it is.
You gear up and do all this work for the entire year for it to be that fun, crazy fun
And
for families. And
the parade is nice. We get a lot of people downtown. It's a nice commercial thing for the community. Some restaurants are open on the holiday because it works that way.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just nice to have a town like Lancaster where you can bring a parade from the fairgrounds, Columbus Street, Main Street, back down Broad Street, and have that go through our downtown. Big, sycamore trees and big maple trees, and it's nice.
So far, what does it look like as far as the entries? And are you accepting more entries?
We will always, if somebody shows up on the day of, we'll find a spot for you. You'll be in row 6 or 7. But at registration, if you go to 4th of July Lancaster 4th of July, some variation of that, .com, they'll get our website. And on the website, there is information about how to register, how to mail it in, how to scan it, how to call me if you're technically challenged, and that's why I have a phone number so they can get me. We love people to register early so we know where to put them. And we try to put like things together, but we also like to keep this band away from that band and this church group away from that church group and this dance group away from that, just so that each and every entry has its space.
Do you know about how many entries there are so far for folks who are going to be the spectators and come and sit alongside on the sidewalks?
We're going to have the typical, it's about 200 units. And sometimes a unit, it's like the sheriff. the sheriff is more than one unit because he'll have his community service people in their yellow coats, and then they'll have their SWAT team with their big vehicles, and then they'll have the walkers that are passing out the candy. And so we count that as one, but you could count it as 3 or 4. But we'll have about 200 units there.
Would you cancel the parade for any reason at all?
We haven't done that yet. We had one postponement. We've actually paraded through rain, but it was raining downtown and it wasn't raining at the fairgrounds, so we didn't know. So we kept on going.
Right.
And we had a delay one time that right at 10 o'clock, 9:45, a thunder
I was going to say, probably if it's just thundering or lightning where it can, put
we
somebody
said,
at
go to
risk.
shelter, go to shelter. And it worked out. It wasn't that bad of a rain, but there was lightning and thunder in the area, and so we wanted to make sure everybody was safe. And so they went to the grandstand, and some of the barns were opened up, so that was fine.
The parade starts at 10 a.m.?
10 a.m.
Okay.
And the fireworks?
Yes.
10 p.m.
10 p.m.
We make it very easy.
And then what throughout the day for folks?
Yeah, as soon as the parade is over, about 12 noon, the fairgrounds opens up. The food people will be there at 11 o'clock, and they'll be serving at 11:30. So fair food, exactly the same people come for our event as they do the fair. Okay. And then there'll be kiddie rides and adult rides and then games of chance all afternoon.
Okay. Any kind of entertainment or anything?
Entertainment starts at 6. We'll have Mike O'Reilly, and he has a DJ service. And he's going to be there around the dinner hour, and then it'll lead into Slaw Dog, and that's his band, and they'll be playing their set of music, but it varies a little bit every year. They play oldies but goodies, but they also get into other current rock stuff.
When are folks allowed to bring their stuff to sit down on the grass in the grounds for the
People
fireworks?
like to bring a tarp or a blanket or flagging tape or whatever, and we usually say that at noon the day before.
Okay.
And that allows the fairgrounds to mow and prepare all the roadways in the other areas.
And then after the parade takes off, and that all opens up for parking.
Yes.
Correct? Because you just can't get in there before that.
As soon as the parade empties, we'll start parking cars.
Okay.
And a lot of people park on the north side or put their flag tapes out, or they park over there, and then once the parade has left the grounds, then they'll move their cars back over.
Perfect. Okay. Do you recommend folks who decide to bring the little sparklers or not to bring them?
No, that's okay.
Okay, that's okay. Just be careful. I know I had Ken on, and just be careful with that. Yeah.
Sparklers are hot. And
that's right.
A lot of kids think it's a flashlight or an LED light, and it's not. The other thing is that those wires will puncture tires. So so if you're going to bring sparklers, please dispose of them properly.
Yeah, and try not to do them in the parking area. Yep. All right, Dave Smith, thank you so much. Folks, get out. 4th of July is going to be amazing this year in downtown Lancaster, well, beginning at the fairgrounds, all throughout downtown. I'll be back with a special message today for Father's Day. It's Down Home with Tina.
Hey guys, it's me, Isabella Gomez, filling in for Smokey Bear because he's got more to say than just...
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Like, if you're outside enjoying a barbecue, don't let a hamburger distract you from fire safety. Make sure you aren't dumping your hot coals or ashes onto the ground because that could start a wildfire. So take wildfire prevention seriously and let's save the world one day at a time. Juntos con Smokey Bear, podemos hacerlo. Go to smokeybear.com to learn more about wildfire prevention.
Down Home with Tina is brought to you by these amazing sponsors. Folks, I have a couple of poems I wanted to read to you. They were given to me by my father, who they were giving to him from a guy who, he and his parents, they rented a home when my dad was younger, and he ended up attending and graduating from Amanda High School. So it would have been back in the late 60s that he would have received these. And apparently the story goes, they came down one time, or used to come down and collect rent, and the guy was there and he read these poems, and my dad was so in awe of them that he said, well, would you like to have them? So my dad was like, really? And he gave them to him. And now they are in my hands. And when I read them, I was just like, oh my goodness, Dad, I love these. And so Dad said, do you want them? You can have them. And here I am sharing them with you because they just really touched my heart. So the fellow was 85. Here's the first poem. My name is George Carter. I now am 85. In my infancy, I had a struggle to survive, but I grew big and strong through God's rich blessings given to seek for precious souls and point the way to heaven. My life has been rich and full. Great joy and peace is mine when those I help reach out and take the hand divine. Many are the hours I so spent in toil and tears, praying for wayward youth and those in waning years. Fast grows the evening tide, simmering the setting sun. Angels will close the brooks, soon will my work be done. For you, how will it be, the agony of death or life eternally? So that's the first one. And I know his writing is a little, I can read it, but some of it I'm just like, and I've read him a couple of times, but okay, here's the second one. I am 87 years old. So folks, he's 87 years old when he has written this. This was, my dad again received these in the late 60s. I am 87 years old. I am not looking back upon my past life, but this is one thing I do, forgetting those things which are behind and reaching forth unto those things which are before. I press towards the work for the prize of the high calling of God in Christ Jesus. I'm getting a little older each day, but I'm not looking for the sunset as the swift years come and go. I'm looking for the sunrise and the golden morning's glow, where the light of heaven's glory will break forth upon my sight, in the land that knows no sunset, nor the darkness of the night. I'm not going down the pathway towards the settling of the sun, where the shadows ever deepen when the day at last is done. I'm walking up the hillside where the sunshine lights the way to the glory of the sunrise of God's never-changing day. I'm not going down but upward, and the path is never dim, for the day grows even brighter as I journey on with him. So my eyes are on the hilltop, waiting for the sun to rise, waiting for his invitation to the home beyond the skies. Oh, that will be glory for me when by his grace I shall look on his face. That will be glory for me. Face to face I shall behold him, far beyond the starry skies. Face to face in all his glory, I shall see him by and by. And I was like, oh my goodness, this is just so amazing. So once again, it was because he read them to my dad, and may have read them to a few, because my dad had siblings, and my dad just said, oh my goodness, I really, really like that. And I really think that that is really, really interesting. So I just want to send a great big happy Father's Day to all of the fathers out there, the father figures, those who have shown anybody, any youth, of just, ways to be and taught them something. Again, a father figure. Happy Father's Day. Folks, thank you so much for watching the Down Home with Tina show. You can watch the show on Spectrum 1021. Also, I wanted to add that the 4th of July parade that's coming up, I talked with Dave Smith a little earlier about, that is going to air on Spectrum 1021 at 10 a.m. So you can watch that as well on the July 4th, Monday, July 4th. And then also you can watch the Down Home with Tina show. A new show is out each Wednesday, and it airs throughout the week. You can watch it on YouTube, CLN, Your Hometown Connection. And also Facebook, Down Home with Tina. You can follow me there. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a great week. God bless. And until we meet again, hugs and blessings. Good day.